This is the second video of a number of videos that provide the key steps to help you to meet the requirements of accreditation at Proficient. It's time to start linking evidence to the standards, and it's important that you become familiar with the Australian professional standards for teachers and match your pieces of evidence to the relevant standard descriptors. If you're not up to this point, it's important that you try to use the standards to seek out ways of developing your practice to help you to create the pieces of evidence that are going to help you to meet the Proficient standard. You may need to start speaking to your KLA coordinator about writing a program or creating an assessment task, and this can help you to satisfy a number of standard descriptors. The previous video gave you an outline of a range of examples that you could use for evidence. It's important to note, though, that you only need to provide documentary evidence for one standard descriptor for each standard. And you need to be mindful of your 35-page limit, including the 8-page supervisor report. A really effective strategy that I've seen teachers use in the past is by using post-it notes, paste them onto the pieces of evidence to clearly identify where the standard descriptor is met in the piece of evidence. This helps you to identify exactly where you need to annotate. You can see on this piece of evidence, it's evidence of a teaching and learning program. You can see that the post-it note is pointing to extension activities, and this clearly satisfies the standard descriptor 1.5.2, which is all about differentiating the learning for students. In this example, you can see another teaching and learning program, and you can see that it's satisfying 2.2.2. And you can see that it's all about the sequencing of the content and providing an opportunity for students to learn in an organised and logical manner. So by doing this, you can clearly see where the standard descriptors are being satisfied and can help you to identify gaps in your evidence and find out what you still need to do. Each individual evidence item should address 1 to 3 standard descriptors. It is important not to overwork the evidence. That is, ensure that there is an even spread of standard descriptors satisfied across your submission. Ensure that not just 1 or 2 pieces of evidence dominate the submission. This will illustrate to the Teacher Accreditation Authority that a balance of descriptors have been met across the 7 standards. A great strategy to help keep you on track is to use the standard descriptor mapping grid. This can be downloaded from the staff website. Simply click on the Teacher Accreditation tab and you'll find it linked as one of the key resources to help you meet accreditation at Proficient. Clearly, this standard descriptor mapping grid helps you to match your evidence items against the relevant descriptors. This is helpful because you can identify the gaps and narrow down the evidence that you still require to help you to meet accreditation at Proficient. In summing up, collectively your evidence must satisfy a selection of standard descriptors for every standard. You do not need to provide documentary evidence for every standard descriptor. In fact, technically you only need to have documentary evidence for one standard descriptor for each standard. Please be mindful of your 35-page limit and only include those pieces of evidence that are strong and help to meet the descriptors that you would like to meet. Please be mindful that your 8-page supervisor report is counted in the 35-page limit. Thank you very much for listening, and please tune in to Step 3 to help you to meet accreditation at Proficient.